Good morning. My name is Jennifer Levine from the Door Times, coming at you live with some insider information into the Schuette v. Bam matter. Up first, oral arguments.
May I please the court? My name is John Bursch, Solicitor General of Michigan, and today I am here on behalf of the appellant and the issue that arose on November 2006 when Michigan voters adopted Proposal 2, an amendment to the Michigan Constitution prohibiting discrimination against or preferential treatment to individuals in the public education system, government contracting, and public employment on the basis of race, sex, ethnicity, or national origin. The amendment was a product of a battle over race conscious, over affirmative action, and mission policies in Michigan's public universities that began in the 1960s and culminated with the Supreme Court's decisions, Grutter v. Bollinger and Gratz v. Bollinger. When we go look at past history and Grutter v. Bollinger, we see that the court held that universities cannot establish quotas for members of certain racial groups or given their applications preferential treatment. The court explained that universities could use more flexible standards that treated race as a plus factor, but they couldn't give individualized consideration and put their applications above others. Proposal 2 isn't the only type of proposition of its own. When we look at other states such as California, we see Proposition 209, which places a ban on racial preferences in university admissions that was enacted in 1996. When looking at past but current studies that show that minorities have a much greater chance of graduating from the university systems under Proposition 209 than previous other systems used by universities that have or use racial preferences. It has been shown that students who receive significant racial preference in admissions at elite universities are most likely to receive lower grades and transfer out of difficult majors. Overturning Proposal 2 threatens the right of the people to govern themselves. Voters enacted Proposal 2, and because the government cannot disregard the will of the citizens, they should not overturn it. The court must respect Proposal 2 on its grounds and the wishes of the Michigan voters. Finding Proposal 2 and invalidated only violates the political process doctrine, and it would invalidate policy-making efforts and implicate minority groups. Affirming the Sixth Circuit overboard reading of the political process doctrine would eventually invalidate other state and federal statutes that eliminate the use of racial preferences to advance underrepresented minorities. Thank you for your time.
To you all. May it please the court, I'm here with Ms. Chantal Driver for Respondent Coalition. The state of Michigan, and by proxy, the public universities of Michigan, are remiss in the effort to create a more diverse environment in higher education, which was the foundational purpose of the racially sensitive admissions policy at issue. White students have historically enjoyed and continue to benefit from admissions policies which have insulated them from having to compete with minority students in the past. Underprivileged communities have been fighting for equality of educational opportunity for generations. The unmistakable premise of affirmative action is to level the playing field. To suggest that hundreds of years of legal segregation and race-based deprivation reinforced in 1896 by Plessy v. Ferguson and incrementally overturned in 1954 by Brown versus Board of Education has rendered a level playing field is absurd. In Hunter, this court found that Akron's city charter amendment, by singling out anti-discrimination ordinances, places special burden on racial minorities within the government process, thus becoming as impermissible as any other government action taken with the invidious intent to injure a racial minority. Validating Prop 2 would significantly inure to the majority's benefit, disadvantage, and place a special burden on minorities, thus making it impermissible. The state argues that as a result of Prop 2's passage, there is no suspect classification in Michigan's new race-neutral policy and uses the Equal Protection Clause as its constitutional support. However, there effectively is a classification because the amendment targets racially sensitive admissions policies in Michigan's public universities. Likewise, the state argues that Prop 2 does not violate the political process doctrine. The political process doctrine states, in effect, it is unconstitutional to make it more difficult for racial minorities to obtain protections through the political process than it is for other groups. The substantial burden placed on minorities to change this proposal is detrimental to their educational well-being. Thank you for your time today, and I ask on behalf of the Coalition that for the sake of racial justice in America, you uphold this ruling.
Thank you, Counselor.